The best way for him to explain is there was a severe height of sin.
Right.
In those days, there was a severe height of sadistic sin. And a way to explain sadistic sin had just been created.
Right.
Reason I say had just been created is because the premise of the prophecy of Revelations is that there will be a great war and an event of destruction and pain and havoc that has never have been before,
right,
nor shall ever be. That's why I say it made the standard and started the premise
right,
for sadism or sadistic acts. Because, not just because they were at the flood time. I'm not saying they're just the start. And I'm not saying they're the pinnacle. And I'm not saying they're the start because they're not the pinnacle. I'm saying they're the standard. That they were the first to do it, so they're the start. But they're not the start because Lucifer is. But you can't fully understand what the fuck he did because it wasn't fully expressed. But you have a greater understanding with them, right? However, not our group. I'm not claiming our group fully has it. Case in point, the flood happened and then history was lost about what the fuck they were doing. In what? Specificity. We have a vague version of what the fuck they did. We did not have specifics. Why? Because God's not fucking evil. He won't cause you to sin, right?
Right.
So why should I tell you a story about how not to fuck a woman by also showing you how to fuck?
Right.
Why would I show you a story of how to not have sexual relationships with someone while also showing you how to have sex and you're not ready to know that yet?
Right.
You feel? What sense would those two make? There's no reason that has to happen. Now, meaning, if something happens where your kid just got exposed to a negative sexual act, does not mean you now go show them how to have sex properly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that because the kid's too young, you're not going to talk to them about sex. That's stupid. If something just happened where they got triggered to the information, you have to fix that. But that does not mean you're going to go around showing them how to have sex. Because they're still too young to know how to have sex. You're just going to break down for them how man to man is unjust or woman to woman is unjust. You're not going to fucking break down how the position was wrong or the certain acts was wrong. This specific, you're not going to point out the specific. It's actually building a template for what the kid can remember as they contemplate it later.
Right.
God won't do that shit. He's just going to give you the answer and the rules, and mainly the answer how to follow the rules. So he did the same shit with them. Now the next group out of Noah is building up, and he has to let them know why the first group was fucked up, why he destroyed them, and so he explains what they were doing in vagueness. Perversion of flesh, all manners of creatures, thoughts, and things. Then he showed you how to think, so you know this is how you think. Any twisting of it would be a perversion. Now you understand what they're doing. You don't need to see specifically how to twist my shit. Like, I don't need to write blasphemy for you so you can know how not to blaspheme. That's all I'm saying.
Basically.
Alright, so now, that's what I'm saying. They're the standard, but the standard was hidden. Why is the standard hidden? Because it's only meant for those who want to do it once it's revealed to them. Because obviously, if you have wandering fucking spirits from that time, they didn't forget. So when these niggas get those familiar spirits in themselves, they have back access memory to those times to reproduce the acts of those times. But anyone not associated with that group only has the vague story, and so you have no real reason other than your personal lust to go do something similar to that would then trickle you down the path like a gateway drug. So now I'm saying that's why that's just the standard. Because then the Bible says in Revelation, for clarity for everybody, that there's going to be in that time, I would say, because not clarity for everybody before it, but for clarity for everybody who's going to be in that time. This is going to be a very, very disgusting time. And there's going to be a very, very high travesty, as which never was. Now, if you go back to what happened with them, if he says, as in the day of Noah, so shall it be. Well, on top of all the bad things they're doing, a big traumatic and tragic event happened for them. Not just their sinning, a big ass fucking harsh event happened. So if he's going to say now there's a new one happening and no shall it ever be, you feel? They're all just the standard. The flood is just a height of how God can fuck with you. fix something or correct something. But there's other ways. You feel? And so he's saying, I'm not going to do that move again. That's about it. But he's also saying, this is the standard. When I get rid of something this bad, this is what I do. So saying I'm not going to flood it again doesn't mean I'm not going to judge it again.
Right.
Okay. So now he explains how he's going to judge it the next time, and stating it's the same shit he's judging. As in the days of Noah, so shall it be where they were eating and drinking and giving marry. That's explaining the how he's going to judge them. But when he says, so shall it be in the day of Noah, where they had giants in those days, now we got giants. They had perversion of the flesh in those days, now we have perversion of the flesh. They had blasphemy of God, now we have blasphemy. You feel? They had open sin, now we're gaining a spot of open sin. That's explaining why, like why and what he's judging. You feel? So you have the similarity of the shit they did before Noah's flood, and then the similarity of the shit that they're doing when they're getting judged. And now you know why and how they're getting judged, because they got judged with the flood, but with the flood came a warning, as if he didn't want to do it, right? A severe fucking warning from what I heard. Then, because they wouldn't accept the warning by clear and obvious act, what did he do? Give them over to their lust, because he said he caused them to war amongst themselves, that no one would know when the signs of the flood was coming. Meaning, the signs of God's judgment he warned you about. But he did not want you to know about the sign that a flood is coming, because you would prep for the fucking flood. You feel? Because that's a natural fucking event. And remember, these are giants bigger than us. They might even be able to see the shit happening in time to make a fucking raft in time, or warn a nigga and group bodies like ants. They are very knowledgeable people of those times, and they reached a fucking height that you could say rivaled Atlantis, if we wanted to surmise. So all that's happening, he's about to take out that level of a group that was higher than capability than Babel. You feel? The people building the Tower of Babel. And he's going to take them out. Obviously, he wants to do it with sense, but to take out a sensible, sentient being, you would have to do it in a way where he's not trying to block you. Because otherwise, it would be a tug of war type shit. Now, not that God can't do anything or everything, but does God have to fight with someone? So why fight with you knowing that means I have to have a harder chance keeping Noah on the boat safe, when I could just get you the fuck off and keep Noah safe, and everyone who wanted to obey me? So now that's been decided, and so he decides, give them over to their lust. War amongst one another, that's like saying, I got you to lust after another nigga's spot, because that's what you normally do. And this nigga, he likes to fight, so I got you to lust after the warmongerer's spot, so now you guys are fighting. And then this person loves to love, but will fight. But their love is perversion of the flesh. So when you guys went to go fight, you fought over her territory, which caused a bunch of people to know pain instead of love, because they're not having their sexual orgies no more, and she makes her army, and now they're all fighting. But they're not all he's or she's, because they're all fucking Nephilim, he-she genders, you feel? So they're all fucked up, confused themselves. And then the humans who were dumb enough to be serving them at the same time, doing the same lust, followed in their armies and had their own individual shit. So now everybody's doing the shit when they, after gotten warned by Noah, and after making fun of them and all that shit, now they all got tricked into one moment. Like, you know how in the end of the Bible it says, and he shall cause the great armies of them, Gog and Magog, to gather up upon the breadth of the earth, to come to do war with God and his saints at the New Jerusalem. But when they reach, fire from heaven come down. And you feel? All right, before all that, he still says, and he caused them, you feel, to draw up upon the breadth of the earth. Who is he? In that statement, if you know the verse, it's not God. It's God after he released Satan. By releasing Satan, he caused these niggas who've been waiting to fuck with us to be free to their lust as Satan went out to tempt them. And he causes them, because Satan wants to fight us, to everyone gather together to come fight us. Unlike when what? With Revelations before judgment, before his 1,000-year seal, and the flood of Noah. Theirs was that they were to fight each other so that we could get protected. But at that Tory, we're all already in a safe spot. And there's already a widely known standard for a while. So everyone outside the safe spot already knows how to obey God. And now the devil is released and they just still decided to fight God. There's nothing to warn. That was the longest warning in life. That group after 1,000 years of reign, like when they know everything we all went through, So they really know how God feels about all this. They don't need another fucking warning. And then after that 1,000 years, he come out and he tricks all of them to come up against God. So God just burns every fucking thing. Then he says, and lo and behold, I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the old heaven and the old earth had passed away. Right? That's after he lets fires directly out of heaven. Like everything fell from fucking heaven. Everything. Literally like saying all the armies fell from heaven when everything else fell. Like everything fell like a super move.
It's like the arson room when everything else dropped, the bank dropped and all this, like, but the only people that got the bank dropped on them was everyone sealed with God's name on their forehead. Then the arsenal and all the dangerous chemical shit, like the janitor's room and all the powerful chemical shit, dropped on everything else that wasn't covered by the bank, God's name. And so basically bombs literally dropped and unplugged and exploded, and loaded weapons just dropped and started shooting everywhere. And yeah, I see what you're saying.
But that protection by the bank scenario, everyone who was sealed by the bank already was
like
the scenario. That's why there's no need to wait.
That's why you're in the book of life. So before heaven drops, you know whether or not your name, you have an account in the bank. Right. You know whether or not you have an account, or did God close your account? And
it's more like you know whether or not you have an account, but that there's rules. And at this time, you know that there's always a mass hidden but made known it happens census. Meaning, the nigga goes to check everyone's account, see if you've been following the rules. You get a star, you get a notice of a possible infraction, please fix. Or there will be a penalty, right? And you know what happens when you get 5 penalties. And God says you can do this to fix the 5 penalties. Or there's no fixing of the 5 penalties. I don't care which scenario you pick in case a nigga wants to be hard-headed about this shit. So now those 2 scenarios go forward. And this event happens where everything's caving down, right? The people who got the 5-star offense are gonna be hit. I don't know about 4, 3, 2, or 1, so we're not gonna get specific in that. But any nigga who, when that shit hits, the reason they're getting hit is because the census happened before the thing. This scenario is God's not gonna let it happen all together no more. Noah's flood and tribulation all together. He has everyone together. But this time, he had already separated the tare from the wheat. Any wheat that want to act like a tare will not get warned again. You know you're a wheat. These are the rules. Now, the census come, you didn't fix your shit, you got the penalty. Census came, you didn't fix your shit, you got the penalty. Now everyone's just before the event. You were a member before you got the penalty. Anyone with a penalty upon the event is no longer a member.
Right.
Therefore, they're not in the bank.
Right.
So when the thing happens, no matter where you are, you're in the bank if you're a member.
Right, because if you take the mark, if you worship the beast, if you worship his name or his image, your ass is penalty. Your ass is in penalty, because he said, that's like blasphemy on the Holy Ghost. He said once you do this thing, you are taken out of the book of life. There is no coming from that. I told you already not to do this thing. So if you do this thing, and this thing is not going to be a hidden thing, everyone's trying to figure out what it is. Right. Everyone knows what it is. Right. Anything you have to put on your fucking body. Anything you have to put on your fucking body. Why is everyone asking, what is the mark? Is the barcode the mark? Is the chip the mark? Yes, bitch, both of them are the fucking mark. Bruh. Both of them are. Do you know why? Because both of them make up the mark of the beast's name. And they both go on and in your fucking body. Use your damn brain. Even just having the knowledge of his ways. If it touches your fucking body, that's all you need to know. Yeah. If it touches your fucking body. If it engages, I don't even give a fuck if it's anywhere else in your body, because they're gonna try to use all that to be besides the point. Because at the end of the day, they might start out with your fucking shoulder, but after you get that shit in your shoulder, guess what? That shit's gonna make you go get in your forehead or your fucking hand. Use your damn brain.
I don't care if you paint your hair and you paint it in the